from rideable wolf mounts to Odin sight and to levels being a thing of the past, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is shaping up to be a great new installment in the AC franchise. And there is quite a lot of new info outside of their recent reveal of the game that you guys would definitely want to know about. So today we're going to be breaking down all of the gameplay details known so far, and we're going to be doing this in video segments. So make sure you guys are staying tuned throughout, and let's jump into it. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is set during 837 AD in the era of the Vikings, where you'll be playing as a ferocious Viking warrior known as Eivor. The game will start in the lands of Norway, but due to war and overcrowding, you'll eventually leave and will lead your clan across the icy seas to settle in medieval England. But the Anglo-Saxons don't like that, so this is where you'll be tasked with leading your Viking expansion across Europe in the war against the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. These include the Kingdom of Wessex, Northumbria, East Anglia, and Mercia. Now, England itself was fairly fractured at the time this game was set in, with many different kings between the kingdoms, one of which was spotted in the CGI trailer being Alfred the Great, who is the King of Wessex. So he is someone we will inevitably be fighting against. Now, along your journey of conquering the lands, you'll eventually meet a group known as the Hidden Ones, who are the first official incarnation of the Assassin Brotherhood, and you'll be joining them in their fight against the Order of the Ancients, which I have to say sounds very, very interesting. What I love about this game as well is that Assassin's Creed in general love their history. I mean, one example of this was from the trailer. In the scene where the camera moves down from the mountain, we see a stave church, which are Christian churches from the Viking Age, in which this is almost identical to the Borgen stave church, which still stands in Norway today. Bit of a random fact there for you, but that's pretty much what we know about the plot so far. So let's talk a bit more about the main character, Eivor. Eivor can be played as either male or female, and while the CGI trailer mainly focused on the male version of Eivor, there was a screenshot of the female version that was released shortly after. Another fun fact coming your way, the male version of Eivor is actually voiced by Magnus Brun, who is the male voice of the main character known as Canute from the Netflix show The Last Kingdom. By the way, if you haven't watched The Last Kingdom yet, I definitely recommend that show, it's honestly great. Anyway, gender choice isn't the only customization option you'll have access to. You'll be able to customize things like Eivor's hair, his war paint, tattoos, and I'm sure there's more customizations we'll have access to other than those. Of course, like in previous Assassin's Creed games, Eivor will also have customizable gear. One of the sets was actually spotted in the Berserker pack for the game's Ultimate Edition, and gotta say man, looks really, really good. Now there is a few more things to know about Eivor, but some of these play into the later segments of the video, so make sure you guys stay tuned. Similar to previous Assassin's Creed games, there will be rideable horses in Valhalla. However, it does seem you'll also be able to use wolves as a mount too. We know this because of the recent collector's edition image for the game, in which again, the Berserker pack was included. Inside of that Berserker pack, we can actually see the Hati wolf mount. I mean, come on, a game set in the Viking era where you have a wolf as one of your trusty sidekicks, I'm already sold. Anyway, that's not the only thing we see from the Berserker pack. We can also see some of the game's unique items. We have the Bearded Axe, an Ursine Guard light shield, the Berserker clothing set, and even a skin for your Raven, which we'll talk more about later on in the video. While we're on the subject of weapons though, the variety of weapons available in this game have been expanded upon. We have things like flails, throwing axes, greatswords, and like previously mentioned, we also have the return of shields and even the hidden blade. A lot of these weapons will also have runes, which may work in a similar way to engravings from Odyssey, where you can essentially apply a perk to the weapon, and sometimes as you find weapons, they'll just come with a perk. In addition to this, we'll also have the ability to dual wield almost any weapon in the game, including shields, and apparently every piece of gear the player collects in this game is unique, which again, from this information, sounds like an incredible expansion of the looting system. Anyway, weapons aside, there is a lot more that has changed with this game. one of which is to do with the game's progression system. Instead of the traditional leveling system seen in previous games, this game will focus more on a power system through the selection of skills from your skill trees. These of course will be selected by the player as you advance through the game, and the difficulty of enemies will be rated based on the player's collection of skills. Just to touch on skills, one of the skills that we know so far gives you the ability to call in a wolf to help you in combat. I wonder if that will be the same wolf that you use as a mount. I'd imagine so. Anyway, moving on to the enemies now. So, the development team behind Valhalla aimed to introduce a wider range of enemy archetypes compared to previous Assassin's Creed titles, as they wanted the player to be continuously surprised by the game even after playing for 25 hours. Funny that they use that terminology because apparently there will be 25 different enemy archetypes and each will have their own special abilities that they can use against you. These enemies are apparently much smarter in this game and will use teamwork to improve on their strategies to fight against you, which also plays into the assaults feature of the game. For those of you who don't know, assaults are essentially what you'll lead your Viking armies on to attack Anglo-Saxon fortifications in these kind of large-scale battles. Similar to conquest battles in Odyssey, just expanded upon more, as these raids you'll be going on will be for the benefit of your settlement. Now, outside of everything that's been mentioned, that pretty much covers what we know about the settlements, and what I will say is it seems like a great feature in this game, and it's something I genuinely cannot wait to indulge more in when we eventually get our hands on it. So we touched on settlements slightly a minute ago, but yes, Assassin's Creed Valhalla will see the return of settlements, which have been absent from the series since Black Flag. However, settlements in this game will have a much deeper importance. It's essentially your own Viking village for you and your clan to live in. And a lot of what you'll be doing in the game world will feed it directly into the settlement so that it can grow and flourish. Eurogamer recently did an article where they interviewed their lead producer Julian, and to quote directly from that, he stated, "Instead of embarking on a never-ending journey to defog all of the map like in Odyssey, Valhalla's narrative is being built around your settlement and through it. It's your own Viking village you'll see prosper and grow and which your clanmates will live in. It's at the center of our quests and the center of the decisions you make. We want players to see the consequences of their actions. Big story arcs will begin and end here, with the impact of your decisions rippling through your growing community. You'll see the effects of alliances, such as weddings to forge relationships between clans, and you'll also see the consequences of harsh choices you have to face. On top of that, it's also where you'll see some of the game's romances play out if you choose to indulge in those. So it's pretty clear settlements have a big focus in this game, and you'll have a lot of decisions you'll need to make between personal goals and what is best for the settlement. Now, in addition to this, your settlement will also be highly customizable with upgradable structures. You can construct things like a blacksmith for upgrading you and your clan's weapons, a barracks to further improve your clan's power, and even a tattoo parlor. And again, I'm sure there will be a lot more customization available for the settlement, but it's something we'll have to wait and see more of, hopefully with their gameplay reveal soon. Anyway, to finalize the settlement section, you'll also be able to indulge in a ton of mini games such as drinking games, dice, and flighting, which is essentially Viking rap battles where you verbally annihilate your opponents. I know, sounds kinda crazy, right? But this was an actual thing back then. And that's pretty much it for the settlements from what we know so far. But what I can say is, it seems like a great feature in this game, and it's something I cannot wait to indulge in more when we eventually get our hands on the game. So now we move into the final parts of the gameplay details we know so far. So in this section, we'll be covering your longship and your trusty raven. So yes, you will have a raven companion in Valhalla, and it pretty much represents the eagle vision mechanic from previous games, but in this game it returns in the form of Odin's sight. Like in previous games with the eagle, you'll be able to use the raven to scout the nearby areas and identify foes and aspects of the game world from afar. It was also noted that they have expanded on the raven's abilities, but currently we don't know what those abilities are. but I'm sure we'll find out pretty soon. Just to mention as well, Ravens will be customizable with skins. Again, referring back to the Berserker pack, we can see one of those right now. And outside of this, there isn't really much more known about the Raven yet. Again, hopefully we see more on the Raven in the gameplay reveal on the 7th of May. And by the way, I'll be doing a full breakdown of the gameplay reveal on the channel, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Anyway, now moving on to the Longship. Now, though the use of naval transport has returned in Valhalla, it has been dialed back a lot compared to previous games. In this game, it will act more of a means of travel and is something you'll be using when performing raids or to escape land combat scenarios and stuff like that. There will be some form of naval combat though, but it will just be a little more hands-on with you kind of like jumping onto enemy ships to raid them, as opposed to annihilating them out of the sea. Your longship in this game, like almost everything else, will also be customizable to some degree. Whether that means you'll be able to customize individual parts of the ship or simply have the ability to apply a new skin as you come across them, we don't know. But I'm hoping you'll be able to customize a lot. To finalize, it seems like you'll also be able to fish from your longship, as fishing was one of the many activities that was brought up from the Eurogamer article. And that's pretty much it for what we know about the Longship so far and all of the gameplay details we know about the game. Again, there will be a gameplay reveal very soon, so make sure you guys are subscribed to see a gameplay breakdown of that, and I'll catch you all in the next video.